Hello, and welcome to the C3 Method podcast with your host, Robert Polenic. Our goal is to educate you on everything health and fitness related with a clear, concise, and customized approach. We want you to know what you need to know and how to apply it in a way that fits you best. What I want to do today, our podcast is 2,284. There we go. And the title is High Protein Diet for Fat Loss. So I want to talk through the method of diet that I'm currently using for myself. My goal is to get very lean over the next couple months. I don't really have a specific timeline in mind, but we will say around 4 or 5 months, I would like to get sub 10% body fat. So as very, very, very lean. The method, basically, the structure that I'm using would be considered a high protein diet. How I would define a high protein diet is actually a protein percentage above 33%. So a normal protein percentage should be between 25 to 33%. There are going to be specific cases where maybe somebody would be outside of that. But for most people, most athletes, most purposes, a diet that consists of 25 to 33% protein would be considered normal. You then have the remaining calories divided among carbs and fats as preferentially needed for individual conditions. For me, what I'm doing is I'm doing a diet that's actually over 40% protein, and actually I'm averaging around over 50% protein. Now, I wanted to explain why, because I thought it might just be fun for people to hear of this type of diet structure. If you want to try it, you're welcome to. That's not really my point of sharing this. The reason why I wanted to share the information was just to share a little bit about what I do and then give some food for thought or some fun facts and information that people can just enjoy listening to and maybe apply in various ways if they want to. So I'm doing a diet currently that's over 50% protein. My protein amount is on average 300 grams per day. I weigh right now around 250 pounds. I started at 263, I'm down to 250. My goal will be to get somewhere probably around 220 to 230. That'll probably put me where I want to be, I'm assuming. I got a DEXA scan done. It tells me my lean muscle mass is 210. So I know if I want to be under 10% body fat, I'm going to be probably somewhere around 225, somewhere in there. So that's how I'm doing it. I'm not just taking a big fat guess. It's still somewhat of a guess, but it has pretty good data from the DEXA scan to back that up. So I know that I'm going to be starting my diet. I started 263. I'm going to be going down to roughly, let's just say 223. So 40 pounds is what I want to take off. I'm already about 13 pounds in, so I'm doing pretty good. Now, the reason why I choose to do a high protein diet is having a large amount of protein helps to preserve muscle tissue while I'm in a calorie deficit. So I can have a deficit of carbs and fats, but I do not want a protein deficit. So if we get rid of the concept of calories, and I just think, okay, the three macronutrients I'm eating that can provide calories is fats, carbs, and protein. Well, I know that fats and carbs contribute to body fat when eaten in excess. And if they're eaten even with small momentary surpluses and momentary deficits, if there's still inconsistency that presents itself even at times in moments of surplus, that can impede or slow down fat loss. So I want to have my carbs and fats as much of a deficit as I possibly can while sustaining training intensity and volume, because training intensity and volume helps me preserve the muscle I have and hopefully actually build more muscle. But if I preserve my intensity and volume, I need to have not only enough protein to recover the muscles and repair the muscles, but also to create the positive adaptation of new muscle tissue. So I need to have a lot of protein. Am I worried that the protein is going to be broken down for energy and then therefore I won't have enough protein to provide for the muscle repair and muscle growth? It's very unlikely, especially when you have stored body fat. The body will utilize the body fat before it would convert protein to energy. The process of converting amino acids to ATP and all this other internal stuff that has to happen is a net loss. So the body actually prefers not to use protein, especially dietary protein, for energy. It would be more likely to break down muscle tissue. But if I have the stored body fat available, I have an enormous amount of protein coming in, and I'm using the muscle tissue with high intensity and high volume training, my body's not going to want to use the muscle tissue. That is a very detrimental process. So it would rather just pick off the body fat and be slightly annoyed and frustrated throughout the process. I'll then feel that slight frustration and annoyance and feeling hungry, and then also having signals from my body to stop doing things. It'll say, hey, you're kind of tired. Don't get up and do that. Sit down. Or don't shake your legs. Sit down. Don't do this. Sit down. Hey, if you can not move, let's not move. If you can not stand and sit, let's sit. If you can not sit and lay down, let's lay down. If you can not be awake, let's just go to bed. The body continually is going to tell me to do less and less and less and less. This is also why people track step counts during diets, so that way you know your activity won't decrease over time, which would then negate the calorie deficit you're trying to create. So I'm driving fat loss by consuming very low carbs and fats. I'm maintaining muscle tissue and muscle recovery by consuming an enormous amount of protein, over my body weight in grams of protein, and by training at a high intensity and high volume. So that is the structure that I'm using. It's going to help me preserve muscle tissue and possibly build new muscle tissue. There is research that has shown that you can build muscle tissue in a caloric deficit. The duration and the intensity of the deficit all matter, but it has shown that the body can do that. And satiety. By having a high percentage of protein, a high amount of protein, the protein fills me up and I don't feel as hungry for the carbs and fats. So for example, my breakfast this morning was 3 cups of cottage cheese. So I get this container of cottage cheese from the grocery store. I track all my food, by the way, in MyFitnessPal, and a portion size of cottage cheese is half a cup. So I'm having 6 half cups, so that's 3 cups of cottage cheese. I put a little bit of pepper on it. I don't know if that's normal or not. Meredith told me that's weird, but that's what my family did whenever we ate cottage cheese when I was younger, so it's normal to me. So I have 3 cups of cottage cheese, and that's my breakfast. Cottage cheese has a 2-to-1 ratio of protein to carbs, and I'm doing the non-fat cottage cheese, so there's no fat. So I am getting roughly, I believe, let's just make up the numbers, round them off a little bit, about 70 grams of protein, 35 grams of carbs. So clearly that's over 50% protein. So that's an example of what I use for breakfast. When you eat 3 cups of cottage cheese, you kind of don't really want to eat anything more. You definitely want to eat something else, but you don't want to eat something more because 3 cups of cottage cheese kind of fills you up. So that is what I'm doing, is I'm using the protein for satiety, and then I'm also just staying busy and not, woe is me and, oh, I wish I could eat and da-da-da-da. It's my fault I'm fat, so it's if I have to suffer for it, then it's my own damn fault. So I'll accept the suffering. That's fine. So I got to eat like a jackass, eat pizza and ice cream and make myself fat, so that was the reward, and now the punishment is if I want to get unfat, I have to not eat those things. Now, do I have to avoid ice cream and pizza for the rest of my life? No, but I have to avoid it until I get to the body fat I want, and then I can only eat it at whatever allows me to stay at the body fat I want, so I have to eat it with more control. So I don't really worry too much about, like, oh gosh, I'm hungry, woe is me kind of stuff, because I did it to myself. I'm my own damn, I'm my own worst enemy. It's my fault. So what am I bitching and whining about? Like, I caused it, so just shut up and deal with it. Or at least that's my mindset. It's probably not healthy in any way whatsoever, but it's got me here and it's worked so far. So this is the reasons or the benefits of a high protein structure. Now, how I'm currently structuring this is I divide my day into time blocks. So we know that, for each day there's 24 hours. I'm asleep for roughly 6 to 8 hours. So I'm awake for 16 to 18 hours per day. I can then think of breaking my day down into 3 sections of 5 to 6 hours. So I have the first 5 to 6 hours is the first 1/3 of the day. The next 5 to 6 hours is the middle third of the day. The next 5 to 6 hours is the final 1/3 of the day. I'm trying to divide my calories and protein across those 3 sections. So currently, I'm using caloric cycling, which I'll talk about in more detail in a second. But I'll eat between 15, well, no, I haven't gone that low. About 1,800 calories up to 3,000 calories is what I have. What I'm estimating my maintenance calories to be is around 3,420, and that's using a BMR calculator online and knowing that my BMR is roughly about 70% of my total calories. So I don't factor in my exercise calories or my daily activity calories. I want to be on a deficit out of maintenance, and then exercise-based calories or activity-based calories is just an extra deficit I get as a bonus from being active and wanting to train. I like to train, so I don't need any motivation there. So I'm estimating my current calories maintenance to be at 3,420. That then means that at 3,000, I'm at least at a 420 calorie deficit. My goal every day is to be in some degree of a deficit. A greater degree of deficit when I feel like I want to push, a less degree of deficit when I want to have a little bit of a recovery day, and then I track my weekly total deficit. So the first week, the calorie deficit, I started tracking on a Monday to Saturday. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, those 5 days, I was at a 6,000 calorie deficit total. The next week, I was at 5,800. So this week is my third week. I'll be roughly aiming for around the same. And that's getting me a rate of weight loss that I'm happy with. And it's maintaining a daily energy that I'm okay with, and that maintains enough workout intensity and volume to match what I would like. What this means is I might have, like yesterday was a 1,500 calorie deficit, plus I worked out and Meredith and I went for a walk. So I was at like 6,000, 7,000 daily steps, plus a full push workout that I don't count those calories. So I was at a 1,500 calorie deficit plus the activity deficit. That's a lot. But I'm only going to track the 1,500 because I know that for sure, or as certain as we can. I don't really have a calorimeter to test how many calories I'm burning while I'm walking and exercising. I can do guesstimations and whatnot online with calculators, but I don't really like doing that. So I just count that stuff as bonus points. So I'm in a 1,500 calorie nutrition only deficit. Maybe that worked really well yesterday. Maybe today I'm decent energy so far, so I'm probably going to aim for something the same. Tomorrow I'm planning on going to Fitness Factory, which is a badass gym up in Charlotte. I want to have a great workout. I want to utilize all the machines. I might eat in a very small deficit. I mean, maybe only 100 or 200 calorie deficit, which gives me a bonus of like 1,000 to 1,200 calories tomorrow that I could eat extra. So I'm going to eat that in carbs, get a ton of energy before the workout, go crush my workout. I'll probably net a greater calorie loss from that workout than I do my regular workouts because I'm fueled and fired up and it's excited and it's a fun gym. So even though I might eat to only, say, a 200 calorie deficit, I still have the activity calories I'm not counting that are furthering that deficit. And if I'm eating the extra to get a crazy intense high volume workout, like a 3-hour workout, then I'm probably creating more of a loss there than I do on other days. So that deficit of only being 200 compared to 1,500 is actually not that large of a difference. It might be a smaller gap than what it would represent in numbers. So then the next day, Thursday and Friday, maybe I'll do another big, 1,000 plus calorie deficits. And then Saturday, I do my math. So I do my math Saturday to Saturday to Saturday because bodybuilding shows are on Saturdays. So if I do this diet and get to the point where I want to do a show, I'll be doing full week measurements Saturday to Saturday to Saturday that would coincide with the show. So I track my weekly amount. If I see that I get another around 6,000 calorie deficit by the end of the week, I'm happy with the rate of fat loss. I keep going. If I were wanting to get a greater rate of fat loss, I would increase that weekly deficit. If I want to slow it down because I feel miserable and my energy's crap and my quality of training is suffering, I'll reduce that weekly deficit, maybe add in more calories on my training days, pull a little bit more away on my non-training days, but I'll modify per day to get the weekly deficit that matches the rate of weight loss that I want, that matches the performance capacity that I need in my workouts and daily energy to manage what Meredith and I have going on in our regular life. So I like to currently have my higher days be on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Wednesdays is when I go to Fitness Factory so I can have a badass, amazing workout. Saturdays is when we do chores and crap around the house. So if we want to go out in the backyard, pull weeds, and get the yard ready for the pool to use it this summer, I want to have a little more energy on that day. So not be outside miserable in the heat and dying. So I will have that as a high day as well. So I have a high day to have a great workout on Wednesdays. I have a high day on Saturdays to do better with household chores and be a better husband. Make sure I'm carrying my weight in this relationship. So that's the current structure that I'm using. And I really like this structure. You basically are using carbs as needed to maintain workout intensity and volume. And having the carbs and fats ultra low otherwise is promoting a great amount of fat loss. But having a really high protein amount is allowing me to have that muscle preservation and maybe muscle building throughout this process. I could also get a DEXA scan done again along the way, see if I'm losing any muscle tissue. If I was, I would know I need to maybe increase my protein more and or maybe not have such a great deficit of carbs since they contribute to muscle growth as well. But I can indicate that knowing on my workout performance. And my workout performance was suffering. I don't need a DEXA scan to know I'm going to build less muscle. I need to eat more to make sure I can maintain my workout intensity. So this is a structure that I currently use. I used it a lot of times. I've used it for years. It's not one that I actually recommend to most clients because it's mentally challenging, and most clients aren't at the stage where this is the necessary step. They have many other diet structures that are less mentally challenging that would work for where they are, but this is what I use for where I am, and it matches with the preference of how I'm okay feeling during the day. I'm okay feeling like shit a little bit. That's fine. If it gets me great results and I'm freaking shredded and I'm getting lean and I can see on DEXA scans, I can see in the mirror that I'm looking better, building muscle, fine. I don't care. I'll deal with being a little unhappy throughout the day. I just wanted to present this as it is a structure that can work. It's a structure that I've used for years, and I thought it would just be fun to share a different approach that maybe you don't hear of quite often. If you want to check in on how this is going, you can check in on YouTube. I am posting more workout videos, so you can see the type of workouts that I do. You can see me getting leaner from week to week to week, but my goal is to maintain that strength intensity and workout intensity, workout volume. So yesterday in my workouts, I did my 120s for chest presses after pre-exhausting for cable flies, and I was still able to do, I think I did a set of 10, 10, 9, 9 on an incline press with the 120s after doing the chest flies. So even though I've been dieting already for 2.5 weeks, I've lost already over 10 pounds in some, I still want to maintain that strength. So knowing I can still move the 120s lets me know I'm still on the right track. When I all of a sudden couldn't move the 120s, or they started to feel twingy, or I wasn't recovering, then I knew that I would know that maybe I'm doing too large of a deficit. But as of right now, it's working great. I'm having fun. I'm enjoying it. Cool. If you have any questions, let me know. You can visit our website at c3method.com, the 3 spelled out, T-H-R-E-E, so C-T-H-R-E-E method.com. You can also reach out, and our email is c3method@gmail.com. If you like the podcast, please share the podcast. The more people we share it with, the more people we can help. If you like the information shared in the podcast, you can find more from us on our social media channels. You can find us and follow us on Instagram and YouTube under the name C3 Method. As always, I hope this was helpful, and thank you for listening.